So, Richard, I'm sure you're facing what we've always faced when people are taken into custody in Dubai. It's not an easy place to get information out of at all.
No, there hasn't even been a trickle of information from the authorities in Dubai. Both the Foreign Office and embassy officials out there haven't given anything away at all. So we're just relying upon friends and informants and various sources.
But it is believed that the five men arrested, including Ross Miami McGill and Stephen Lyons, are currently in custody in Dubai, held on remand while pending extradition hearings. I mean, that is the best information that's coming out.
Yeah, I was told yesterday that there's a minimum 45-day period before the next stage will be approached. I was also told that some of these cases can run on for 18 months to 2 years. I'm sure that anyone who's been held in a prison in Dubai would like that process to be done a lot quicker.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we do have experience on reporting on this in relation to Sean McGovern, the Kinahan cartel very senior lieutenant who was held on remand in Dubai for over a year, and it was different in that there were even the court hearings themselves are it's illegal to report on them. It's not even that they're difficult to get to, or there'd be some restrictions if you reported on any of these hearings. You'd be in big trouble. So it'll stand the same, I suppose, for these guys. But if they are to be extradited, there are certain criteria that'll have to be met legally, including, for example, that whatever crime they're being extradited for is also a crime in Dubai. Have you got any sort of details about what that sort of legal process is?
Well, as you said, the crime that they're being extradited for has to be applicable in the country where they're being extradited to. It's obviously, we've been told that it's serious and organised crime offences that they're being detained for. There's probably other lesser charges, but they're the main ones in relation to Socko.
So to go back into the five men that are being held, obviously Stephen Lyons is somebody we've spoken about a number of times to yourself and separately, and obviously Ross Miami McGill. They are probably the two of the biggest names in Scottish organised crime at the moment.
Yeah, particularly McGill. I mean, as we've talked about, McGill's come pretty much on the blind side in recent months. Obviously, Stephen Lyons is a well-known name and a well-known figure, whereas McGill, this time last year, hardly anyone would have heard of him. But now his face is all over the papers and everyone knows who Miami is and what Miami's up to.
And what do we know of his rise to the top, Richard? Like, where does it begin? And, obviously we've spoken a bit about his background, but it is a very rapid ascent, isn't it?
Yeah, he's was wanted in Scotland. He'd been charged, but he fled the country before the case came to trial. Initially went out to southern Spain, not surprisingly, but then apparently became spooked that he may be about to get lifted. So did what a lot of the others do and headed out to the sunshine of Dubai, where he's been for more than a year. From there, he's started associating or cultivating associates with people who are very, very much up the criminal ladder.
And of course, he is another person who is believed to have really come to the, been at risk due to the EncroChat hack, I suppose, that has been said that's what he was running from effectively.
Yes, yeah. It's, as you've seen countless other cases, his name's cropped up. He's linked in with other people. He's linked in with deals. So because of the collapse of EncroChat, he's taken the decision, as have numerous others, to make a move and flee.
So the connection with the Lyons family and Stephen Lyons in particular, that wasn't a well-known thing over a number of years. He wasn't one of these guys who was like a lieutenant and a driver, like a lot of these guys start as kind of minders and then maybe drivers. That wasn't the way it was with McGill.
No, from all accounts, the association, the links have all been made out in the UAE.
Yeah, and I mean, it's very interesting the role that Scottish criminals are playing out there. Like we obviously know from the MV Matthew seizure, the 2.2 tons of cocaine found off the coast of Cork, how deeply linked to that whole operation Scottish people were, and of course it's come from sources from all sides that really the Irish and the Scottish gangs are working hand in glove.
Yeah, I think the two groups have different contacts. They have different associates. So if you merge the two, you've got a very, very large criminal organisation with a lot of assets and a lot of people who can pull the strings.
So they're the two main names, Stephen Lyons and McGill, but there are 3 other people arrested and believed to be in custody as well.
Yeah, Stephen Jameson is one of them. He was actually detained a couple of months ago, but due to an oversight with his paperwork, he was freed. But he was swept up along with a guy called Steve Larwood. The identity of the fifth person hasn't yet been confirmed. I was told that he is an associate of McGill, but he's actually from Edinburgh. But his identity there's been a couple of names being bandied around. But Stephen Jameson, he was a very close associate of Jamie Stevenson, the Iceman. So he's obviously another high-profile figure.
And tell us a bit about the Iceman for people in Ireland who'd be less familiar with him. I mean, he's a Christy Kinahan senior type of figure, a kind of an OG, as the kids might call him. Richard.
Yeah, very much so. Very well established, very well known over 20, 25 years. Close connections, both family and friendships with other serious players in the underworld. But he's currently serving a 16-year term after he pled guilty to plotting to import around £100 million worth of cocaine into the UK from South America, hidden inside a consignment of bananas. He'd been the number one target for Scottish law enforcement for a long, long time. So obviously when he was taken out of the picture, they were delighted, but as these people do, there are indications that despite him being behind bars, he actually got 20 years, but that was reduced on appeal to 16, that he's still pulling the strings, albeit to a lesser extent, from behind bars.
And so Jameson would have been known as sort of a key figure in that criminal organisation run by the Iceman. Yeah.
They sort of, they're from the same part of the city. They've grown up together, although Stevenson is older, but they formed quite a close alliance. There are stories that alliance may have been weakened because when he was in court for the £100 million cocaine, Stevenson, one of his defences before he decided to plead guilty was to blame a number of people as being responsible for the cocaine shipment, and one of those was Stevie Jameson, who, if you listen to various people, wasn't particularly amused by being dragged into this.
And the fourth man, Yarwood, is he also one of those sort of notorious figures, or
not particularly? It wasn't. I'd heard the name, but I didn't know much about him. The other three are far more prominent. And then I said that the fifth individual is quite interesting because that's the first indication of somebody from Edinburgh being involved in this group, which are predominantly west of Scotland.
Because, of course, there has been in over the last 12 months or whatever, there's been a dramatic escalation in the level of violence on the streets of Scotland, as a feud really gets carried out, and there's been so many incidents, and some of that has been come from Edinburgh as well, isn't it? That's played out there as well. So, in particular, through a guy called Mark Richardson, who's currently in prison.
Yeah, well, this is where it all started. There was a £500,000 stash of cocaine, which McGill had, which he sold to an individual who had close links to Mark Richardson, who, as you said, now he's currently doing 9 years in prison for drug offences. But the £500,000 shipment was paid for with fake notes. And I think this was done because at that time, nobody knew who Ross McGill was, and nobody thought he would be in a position to respond, to react. And as we've seen, that's just not been the case.
Yeah, because Ross McGill sponsored, directed, whatever way you want to look at it, a sort of almost paramilitary style organisation called Tamil Junta, isn't it? Who really embarked on this campaign of arson attacks and shootings and violence as after the cocaine is taken.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the first occasions that I've seen. Tamil Junta have run an incredibly slick media operation. A lot of these attacks, these are fire-raising incidents, are filmed at the time. Within hours, they're up online with music and threatening messages. It is a very, very slick operation that they've done.
And how do you feel these arrests now? Is it going to change that feud? Is it quieting down anyway? I know there's been a lot of arrests in recent.
Yeah, there's been, I think we're almost hitting 80 arrests, and Operation Portalage is the name which the Police Scotland have given to the investigation. I think at the moment we've got basically a stalemate. We've got a lull. Nobody knows what's happening. Nobody knows if all of these people in Dubai are coming back. Is one coming back? Is two coming back? You've got Richardson in prison, who's not really been in a position to retaliate. So at the moment, we're just in very, very stalemate situation where something's going to break, something's going to happen. But over the past couple of weeks, there haven't been, as far as I'm aware, there haven't been any major incidents related to this gang war.
I mean, the guys, there's basically one prison in Dubai where all foreigners are sent. I mean, we know this from Sean McGovern, the Kinnin lieutenant. And we always thought, well, he's, a very significant criminal figure, and they have a base in Dubai, and he'll be looked after in prison. But it turns out when he came back that wasn't the case. That, being, not to state the obvious, but being in prison in Dubai is not a pleasant place. And somebody was said as he was flown back on a military jet that he was relieved to come back to grubby old Ireland and prison there, because it's not for the faint-hearted, is it, Dubai jails?
No, from various stories that I've done over the years, the conditions are pretty harrowing. You're treated with little or no respect by the authorities. There's a lot of Russian mafia influence within the prisons. There's regular violence in the prisons. The guards are said to turn a blind eye. Sometimes they're involved in it. It's not what these people would have been used to in a custodial sentence.
Yeah, and some of them have not spent, certainly I don't think Stephen Lyons or Ross McGill have spent any particular amount of time in prison, unlike some of the older guys who certainly learned to cope with it.
Yeah, compare it to Stevenson and people like that, McGill, Lyons, Jameson, to an extent, that they're not that experienced with lengthy rap sheets, because they're very, very clever individuals.
Yes. So, I mean, look, it's very interesting that when you're reporting on crime in the modern world, all roads ultimately seem to lead back to Dubai. It's amazing how many of these guys how they can function so well over there, and it just shows how the world has changed due to digital technology.
I think what's been interesting in the past few weeks, following on from these arrests, is it's clear there's been a shift in the approach from the authorities in the UAE. Somebody described it as being similar to Saudi Arabia and sports washing. They know that they've had this reputation that if you're in the UAE and you're not causing UAE any issues, they'll turn a blind eye. But I mean, as you've seen with the likes of McGill, there's been obviously several of the top Dutch Moroccans. They've been sent back. A couple of serious individuals from France, and now the likes of McGill being scooped up. There's definitely been a shift in attitude for whatever reason. I know that the people who run the charity detained in Dubai, they described it as a PR stunt from the UAE government.
Yeah, and I think there's no doubt about that. I think it is a PR stunt. I think the sheer volume of articles about organised criminals using Dubai as a base has finally had an impact, and they've come to realise that the cost is greater than the benefit. I think detained in Dubai do great work, because obviously a lot of people get picked up for crimes in Dubai that are of a very minor nature, and they can have a very difficult time in the system over there. But they do make a point that this isn't a sort of they haven't found some sort of hidden morality, that any proceedings that go on there, it's a nod and a wink, really, isn't it? It's a political system, and they'll make decisions on politics rather than on the basis of law.
Yeah, very, very much so. It's got nothing to do with human rights or the rights of the individual. It's more the attitude and the approach to the Emirates, and obviously Dubai, which has obviously found a niche for itself in the past couple of decades. And understandably, the authorities don't want to see this diminished or even eradicated. So if they can make some public attitudes and public approaches to show that they are changing, then maybe they can stop the rot.
Yes. Well, we'll keep an eye on things, Richard, because there's bound to be more developments. But one thing's for certain, you won't be getting good quality court reporting from Dubai for these extradition proceedings.
Well, good quality court reporting is a thing of the past. A lot of it, sadly.
There is
nobody attending.
No.
But I'll keep you posted if whatever's going on now.
Thanks very much, Richard.
I'm Nicola Tallant, and you're watching Crime World, a podcast about criminals, drugs, and the underworld in Ireland and across the globe. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you can be the first to watch all our latest episodes. You can also listen wherever you get your podcasts.